out being something designed for my sisters a little older, but it's transformed itself into something just a bit more. And you know, the second Saturday, man, and I am so proud and honored to say, going into 5 years of giving information, awareness, and resources to the community, CICOA, Aging and In-Home Solution, and this beautiful queen in the screen that you see with me endorsed Radio TV and Jumbo Love, and we are going into 5 years strong. And that's nothing compared to 50 years that we're going to be celebrating. How did you like that for a segue, sister?
Oh, that was great. That was great. So, good morning, and it's great to be here live with you. We've been doing it a little different for the last few months, but this is great. I mean, we've been live, but at different times. So, I'm excited to be here this morning. Today is the last day to go to our website, CICOA, CICOA.org, and donate and be a part of the fun activities that we have for our 50th anniversary. So we've been celebrating since the first of the month. CICOA was established in 1974. And so we've been having a silent auction online. We've been doing a lot of things with our social media. So if you follow us
Oh my God.
on any of our social media.
Sorry, bro. Hold up. Let me say this right now because I know he's watching. I didn't know that brother had that much funk in his groove, Denise. He was getting it on with
He's
that earth, wind, and fire.
always high energy, always high energy. I wish I had some of his energy. So yeah, so you can see our CEO Dan seated. You can see him going into a meeting and told that he couldn't enter unless he could dance. But a lot of the other staff have been participating in some of the fun videos, just to let you know that work does not have to be something that's burdensome, that you can have fun at work. So we hope people have enjoyed those videos, but we really are at this point trying to, we were going to do a gala and just a turn of things. We were not able to do that. So this is a way that we're really trying to celebrate the 50th anniversary. And if you have been touched by the services of CICOA, I go out all the time and people say, I love CICOA. We love CICOA. CICOA was so helpful for us. So if you really, really, really appreciate what you received through CICOA, we would love for you to come aboard to support us financially, to become a volunteer, to come on one of our boards. We really are looking for those opportunities to still engage community stakeholders in the services of CICOA. And as we're transitioning and changing some things, this is a great and exciting time to come aboard because we are kind of re-looking at our branding, and we're doing some new exciting services. We're really still trying to help people navigate through this pathways process, because that's new. It's different, and so people, new and different sometimes doesn't always doesn't
Wait a
always.
minute. Wait a minute. New, different, and confusing. How about those
Yeah,
adjectives?
yeah.
No, I'm
So
dead serious, and it is crippling a lot of our community because they just don't know which way to turn or which way to go to get the correct information, the awareness and resources, and that's really what we've been trying to do in this second half of the year since Pathways hit. I didn't mean to interrupt, but we have to say that because it is really, really hampering a lot of the way that people are used to living.
yeah, and so the I think the confusion thing has been that Socoa has always done those Medicaid waivers and services and all of that, and so now they're now going to three of the healthcare companies. So Anthem, Humana, and also United Health, and so that was why we were trying to do some of that education before. So the state fiscal year starts July 1 and ends June 30th. So we were trying to get that information out beforehand, but always when there's something new and different, it's confusing whether people got their letters, whether they read the letters, whether they went ahead and picked their own medical company. So basically, if people didn't pick which company they wanted to go with, then the state kind of put them in a random system to choose that. Also, some people were then put on the Medicaid wait list. And so that's been a big thing with the wait list. So we're really trying to help work through that wait list. The companies are trying to get that taken care of. So I would say answer your phone. If you see a phone call from any of those health entities or from us at 803 extension, because they're really trying to get through the choice wait list as well as the Medicaid wait list. So Services are coming. It's just, with anything, it's just a process. Our phone lines have been extremely busy. So I wanted to let people know that if you call, please plan to be on the phone waiting for a while, because we have been inundated with phone calls. The other way that, excuse me, if you have a question, you can also go through our online process, or if you want to do a referral, I would say go through the online process and put in an online application, and then we will get back with you. But truly, if you're calling, plan to set your phone to the side and wait for a minute. And that's unfortunate, and we're trying to work that out and get that better. But if you also have questions, if you currently have Medicaid, then you can call Pathways, and you can go online to Pathways, and then I should have had the phone number pulled up. So the Pathways line, my understanding is a person answers that phone, and then they try to then direct people to the right health entity that they have, healthcare entity that they have. That makes
Now,
sense.
Denise, I don't, I know politically correct is where CICOA and a lot of the entities that I work with have to stay, and then I get the opportunity to be candid, and most of the people who are being affected, and I'm just going to be as real as possible, are people who are African American. They are probably not online. Most who are low income, and those people are being affected most by not knowing where their new provider is and what their services that they have are available to them. And that is, truth, fact, and, that's the truth. So we have to be on it. We have to partner with our churches. We have to partner with our community centers and the place where people gather and get this information to them. And we've been intentional about going out to do that as well. Let me ask you a question. Going on 50 years of making sure that the senior information, awareness, and resources are readily available to the community. This senior thing has changed dramatically in 50 years on what was needed then versus what is needed now. You touched on it before. We have more active seniors than we ever have had in the history of time versus 50 years ago when we were trying to take care of people who were 65 who were now becoming debilitated and not being able to handle some of the everyday things that they were used to. What is CICOA doing to understand as we continue to have a longer lifespan that the senior needs are going to have to expand as well?
Well, I think
I didn't mean to throw that at y'all loaded, but
it is loaded.
while I'm sitting here.
It's loaded. My brain went a whole lot of different places. First, let me give the Pathways number because I did find it. So the number, if you need to reach Pathways, is 877-284-9294. So if you need to enroll, if you have questions, anything like that, feel free to call Pathways. If you already have Medicaid, it's best to call Pathways rather than to call us, because Pathways then has all that information. And even if you're not sure who your medical provider is, they can give you that. Again, that number is 877-284-9294. Now, based on what you just said, excuse me, 50 years ago. Well, I don't know if I was born 50 years ago. Was I born?
No, I'm sure you weren't just by looking at you through this screen.
I was a youngster then.
You're a chick.
In essence, people were not living as long, right? 50 years ago. So what we've seen is a progression of people living longer and living healthier, right? Because it used to be you just went to the doctor when something was wrong. And now healthcare changed to more of a preventive process. So let's come in, have your annual physical. Let's get your mammograms. Let's get your prostate screens. Do all of those things to try to prevent people from having these long-term illnesses. Not that those don't still happen, but I think it's definitely helped keep our society healthier. Part of what it was interesting you said this, because I was just talking with some people this week at a church, and I said, really aging comes in different categories. So you have your younger aging. So your people that are 60 to about 75 are your younger aging.
Junior seniors.
They're still active, right? They're still busy. They're still traveling. I look at my sisters and brothers and people at my church that are on month-long cruises. I'm like, please, Lord, let me be healthy enough to do all of this traveling once I've retired. So these are people that are still active. They're not sitting at home twiddling their thumbs. They're out, they're active in their community, they're volunteering in their community, and they're traveling, and they're hanging out with their grandkids, right? They're doing those things to help support their children and their grandchildren. Then as people are aging up more, the 75, 85, 90 range, then that's a little different. That changes a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean some of those people aren't still traveling and doing their thing, because there are, because it varies from person to person. But there may be a different scope of now how I'm looking at my life. What is it that I want to see differently? How am I planning now for what I'm going to leave as inheritance
legacy?
And yeah, my legacy for my family and all of that type of thing. That's a great word. And so as a part of that, then people start looking at, where they want to live. Do they want to, now downsize? Do they want to go to a one-story home? Do they want to move into a senior community? All of those particular things. Or do they want to age at home, right? And so as a part of that, then they're starting to look at that scope a little different. As I'm moving a little slower, as I may need to make sure I'm keeping myself safe within my home and eliminating any of those things that could be a hazard to me, then that's important during those particular stages as well. And then as people are 90 and above, then, they're still, I was at an event and there was a couple of 90-year-olds still hanging out. I was with a 90-year-old yesterday from my church, still lives alone. So, so all of this looks very different for people. And it's really based on their health and their ability to still maintain in their own home and in their own setting. So I think what we're doing truly through CICOA is we're trying to get that information through our Meals and More program. We are truly trying to get healthy eating, dietary needs met, really looking at how do you prolong your life and where food plays a role in that, right? Because it plays a big role. We all eat every day. So it plays a big role. What does exercise mean? Being able to get out into your community and exercise. The Y has all of these programs now, right? You can pretty much join any type of setting. Churches are having exercise classes and yoga classes and health and wellness programs and everything. So being able to,
The senior line dancers.
oh yeah,
Those sisters
exactly.
out there getting it and shaking it up. I was yesterday, I'm telling you, boy, them sisters over 60 was moving it and grooving it to me.
Exactly.
And it's funny you mentioned over 90. I had a live remote last week at BB's Home Away from Home Adult Day Center.
Mhm.
And this is becoming something that is very prominent in the community as well, where seniors have a space to go during the day to be active and
Yeah.
stay involved. And I was talking to a brother, he was 92 years old. Hardest interview I ever had in my life, because at 92, he was cool, but he didn't have a lot to say, but he was happy to be there. So,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, as you age, your whole dynamic changed. He's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I want to be here, but don't talk to me too much. You know? So
Or talk to
it's
me.
just funny. Yeah,
We
it's
put
just
them
funny.
socializing.
Yeah, I'm socializing the way I socialize. Leave me alone, pretty much.
That
Yeah,
may have been just his personality all along. He may have just been an introvert.
I know that's
Everybody's
right.
not like you.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so truly, I think
Thank God.
that makes the difference. So when you say, what are we seeing different in 50 years? We've seen that there's more people who are aging, who are becoming older adults, who are active in their communities and want to stay active in their communities, and also want to maybe age in their homes. So that's what we do. And so part of that, now we know statistically that there'll be more people over 65 in 2030 than there are children in grade school. But also those 65-year-olds are still going to be active and doing things and busy. However, what are the plans that people make? So I always tell people, think in advance, kind of make your plans. What is your legacy? What do you want to see? What are your plans for aging? Do you want to, what's your aging plan? I guess in a sense, what do you want to have happen? Visualize, what do you want your children to know? How do you want them to handle your affairs, and how do you want your medical care to look, right? As a part of that. So all of those discussions are important. And so one of the things that we're doing now, we're starting these Compassion Connect. And I always want to call them a hub, and my coworker keeps saying, quit calling them hubs. They're not hubs, but Passion Connect. So we started.
Wait a minute. They tell me not to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I love a sister. Go ahead with your bad.
And so, yeah, so we are now partnering with faith communities. And so this collaboration that we're doing with them. And so Living Word is Baptist churches where we had our Safe at Home event. They also have a mental health hub at their location. And so it's over off of Emerson. and 21st Street. And so we will now on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the afternoon, the second Tuesday and Thursday, make sure I say that, have a community health worker there who can now work with the community. And you don't have to need CICOA services to meet with this young lady.
I love this.
So this is open. Yeah. So this can be family members. This can be the individual themselves who has questions, or it can be, someone in the faith community that has questions, but also it's open to the community. So it's not just, within those parameters. Community health workers are really people who come from the community, who understand the community, and then are able to connect people to those resources that they need.
Key part of people.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, man, and the institutions that are making these programs readily available, like CICOA, there is a room where you guys are figuring out what we need to do, and then there's a people who need the help, and those people that you're talking about, they can really let you know what these people are needing based on the data that is received. And I try to tell people all the time, this is more complicated than saying here's a program, where's the people. We have to really know our audience that we're serving, and we can be serving the same dish, but it has to have a little bit different flavor depending on the community you're trying to reach.
Yes. So the important part of this is the fact that we're going to also do this on the south side at St. Mark's Catholic Church. We're working on our MOU with them right now, and then we will have another third location. So please look out for that. Check out our website. We're going to start pulling some things on the website, particularly come to the faith resource page. I believe that's where we'll land that on our website, but I'll continue talking about this with HB. I'm sure he'll continue.
Oh, I will get that, and it's going to be pushed and definitely talk. And from listening, maybe strategically we can, somewhere on the northwest side to kind of, complete that triangle. If we can find partners on the northwest side and they're listening, contact Denise Jones.
So are you in the boardroom now? Listen to you. You like, I think you need to move over.
Yeah. I do the best I can, and I told you, I don't have a filter. I don't have to. And I have some partners, and we're doing
that may be a problem that you don't have.
Listen to this, Denise Jones. Pastor Green just asked me to come on board for Healthy Mind, Healthy Indy for the second year on the northwest side of Indianapolis, right on the bus lines on 38th and Kessler. And I'm sure they might be interested in hosting one of these.
Well, he's a friend of CICOA. He's been on our board.
I know that. That's why I'm dishing this the way I am.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Sorry,
the next thing is that our memory cafes, we're also now we've received some funding to place memory cafes in faith communities. So let me explain what a memory cafe is. If you're listening from a faith community, a memory cafe is an opportunity for people who are living with dementia and their care partner to come together into a setting that is just for the fun and socialization. Okay, so we have opportunities for people who are caregivers to do support groups and things like that separate from their loved one. And then we have day adult centers and all for people who are living with dementia to go so that their loved one, so that their care partner can get a break. But this is an opportunity to come together and just have a socialization opportunity. So in this one, we say the saying is leave the diagnosis at the door. So it's an opportunity to socialize, to be around other people of like minds, but also to do something fun with your person who's living with dementia, different than sitting at home trying to figure out activities and everything. The activities will be planned. It can be as simple as someone comes in from the library and reads a great story. It can be activities like now when we say painting pumpkins or something like that. The first one we did was Centerwell. We had a occupational therapist who was there to do some chair exercises and everything with the participants. So in your faith communities, what we will be asking is for space, and then also 2 volunteers within your faith community that would be willing to oversee this project. CICOA will come in for the first couple of sessions and help set it up. We'll help with the ideals. We'll help with the planning. We give you a toolkit kit of activities and different ideals that you can do with your participants. And then we kind of pull back because we want the ownership of this to be with that faith community. So we'll be looking at about 10 to 15 faith communities throughout the state. So this is not just Marion County. This is all of, so Dementia Friends Indiana is a statewide initiative. So we will be looking from the top of Indiana to the bottom of Indiana to the east of Indiana. I mean, east part of Indiana to the west part of Indiana. So we're looking to branch out with these memory cafes. So if you are interested, please contact me by the CICOA.org/faith, or you can contact me directly. And this email goes right to me as well. But you can also contact me through djones@CICOA.org. We are really ready to get this out. We're ready to get it moving. This has been something that's been on the burner for a little while. So we're ready to get these memory cafes going. Now, the time commitment can be monthly. It can be quarterly. It could be every week. It depends on that faith community on how they want to do that. We don't tell you how many times you have to do it. So you can think about that. If you're interested and have more questions or like to have a conversation about it, please contact me at djones at CICOA, I almost forgot, at CICOA.org, and we can get you connected. We can have some conversations. If a couple of faith communities want to come in together and do it. So maybe, you know, like I know where my church is we call it Church Row. There's churches all the way up the street. And so if 2 or 3 congregations want to come in together and do it together, that is an option as well. And we will help you get that off the ground. And we may have just a little bit of funding to help with that as well.
I want to offer this because we just had the pleasure of celebrating the second Fall Festival with Dementia Friendly Indianapolis, offshoot of Dementia Friends Indiana and CICOA Aging in Home Solution. And we were down at University of Indianapolis. And for any of the leaders of what you were just mentioning can understand this, the power of togetherness and socialization is so underrated, man. It was so beautiful on Wednesday afternoon to watch all of these different agencies and all of these different people thirsty for information on how to better help their loved one that they're giving care to. So I just encourage as much as you can and as many people as you can gather, probably the more fruitful this is going to be. Now, as you mentioned, not trying to tell someone how to run their own individual meeting group, but the power of togetherness and socialization is what these people are needing.
Exactly. And if you're interested in just kind of maybe visiting a memory cafe beforehand to get a feel for it, please go to dementiafriendsindiana.org and you can scroll and see where the memory cafes are. And we have a calendar of memory cafes that are happening around the state. So there are a few that are coming up this month. And so if you would like to just go and see what a memory cafe looks like and kind of get an idea of it, please go to dementiafriendsindiana.org, and then you can scroll down on the calendar and see the upcoming memory cafes that are happening this month. Now, the next big event that I want to talk about.
Well, you know, you're getting too good for your little self. I used to have to serve you.
No,
you know, we're coming into the last 7 minutes of the show, Denise. What's up next? And you just never last, Steven. You go ahead and tell them what's going on, Denise.
Well, the Faith Summit. It's the 4th annual Faith Summit. I cannot believe it's the 4th annual because it's amazing to me that we even kept.
I've been here for the whole ride. I can't believe it either.
So when we started out, our first one we did was on aging advantages. What do you do after you retire? How do you stay engaged in your community? We had a great session with that. There's so many opportunities out there for people to stay engaged. Just as we mentioned before, as people retire, you don't have to sit at home. There are many opportunities out there to stay engaged in your community. And then our next year, we talked about COVID. And we talked about how faith communities and medicine come together. How do we really make sure that those connections are made and we keep our people healthy in our faith communities and in our community in general. And then last year we did mental health. We talked about mental health, addressing mental health issues in faith communities. We had great discussions and topics around that. So this year we are talking about dementia. So we're talking about innovation in dementia research and care. And we're actually really focusing on people who are living with dementia, who are staying very engaged in their community, as well as their care partners. And we're going to be looking at what are ways that you stay healthy yourself. What are things that you can do to keep your brain active and moving. We know there's some connections genetically with this, but in particular, dementia is not a normal part of aging. So not everybody gets dementia. And so we really want to talk about that process. And then we also are looking at what are some of the supports for care partners. And what has some of the research said as they've been looking at how do we support care partners when they are care partners for a person living with dementia? So it's going to be a great day. We have sold out of our vendor spaces.
Boy,
So
look at us. Look at us.
we no longer have vendor spaces, but we do have sponsorship spaces if you would like to sponsor. So if you would just go to the website, and you can go by two ways. You can go by what's on the screen there where it says CICOA.org/faith, or you can go to CICOA.org, go to the events tab, tap on it and scroll down. And I think we're actually the next top event after the 50th anniversary, and you can register. The registration is free. If you would like to donate, there is an opportunity for you to donate. If you decide, well, this is such a great event, I love CICOA, I'm going to give them $25. Feel free to do that. And as a part of the registration, it's important to go ahead and do that early because we may be getting to capacity. We're going to be at Ivy Tech, which is right over on Meridian Street. And so just below Fall Creek. So it's really centrally located this year. It's on a bus line. It's also an opportunity with plenty of parking.
Beautiful.
Will be available. And so we are excited about it, and we are excited to have you there. So please come. You'll hear more about memory cafes. You'll hear more about what we're doing with Dementia Friends Indianapolis, which is really starting to take a trend and a change. We're going to be really looking at how we can build that out into faith communities, building it out into business communities, which is already kind of started, but we're going to be doing it in a different way. And so we have a lot of exciting things happening in our department. And so I just wanted to get on here and say, connect with us because we need you. We need to make these relationships. We need these resources out in the community. And we also need the volunteers to help us out in this whole process, because with Dementia Friends Indiana, you can become a dementia friend and you can become a champion. And as a champion, then you can go out and do sessions and make dementia friends in your community, whether that's your faith community, whether that's your work community, whether that's your social group, whether that's your sorority or fraternity, you can do that. And so we really want people to understand that it's important that we're educated about dementia and how to keep people engaged and socialized in our communities.
You know, and I want to lend this back to the volunteerism, especially as we age, Denise, because I don't think people understand the wealth that is attached to when you get out and learn something new or contribute and give something back. You know, I'm not a preacher, but I know scripture says that God, you know, really loves a cheerful giver. And many times when you go to locations and you've worked 45 years and now you start volunteering, something on the other side usually is always there waiting for you. So not only can you go to learn to volunteer about, you know, giving, somebody's going to recognize a skill or something that you can offer their organization and say, hey, have you ever thought about being a consultant or whatever? So you just never know the power that happens when you get yourself up off that couch and say, let me go be part of something. Yes. And I think as we age, much like you mentioned, dementia, this is not a natural disease. This means that you have probably sat around and just let your brain get dead. And we know if you stay active that has a direct result and cause effect. Yes. And so, you know, we want to share that information as much as possible. We also want to get people involved, especially as we continue to age. I tease all the time, you know, I'll be 66 if God's will this Thursday, but I feel so young and vibrant because I keep learning and I keep wanting to know new stuff and find out what are making our young people tick so I'm able to impart this wisdom. So just all of that involved in what we're doing as we try to reach the community. So that's my 2 minutes of preaching.
Well, I hope I've kept your brain very active in these last.
Oh, God. Let me tell you something. The sisters I work with, Jumbo Love will never have dementia with having to deal with some of the stuff that I have to deal with on the backside. I've got some dear friends that are female, and let me tell you, It ain't for the easy.
Oh
I'll
my
just leave it
goodness.
right there, but it ain't
You're
nothing but
funny.
love.
You are funny. So yes, please join us. 4th Annual Faith Summit on November the 13th, 8:30 to 1. So it's a half a day. Won't take up your whole day. And it's a free event. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Now, I haven't had the word yet, but normally Jumbo Love is their broadcasting live and sharing this stuff from the village. We need to get all that straight and see,
Sir, you're already out there. We already got your
I just never take anything for granted. I learned that too along the way dealing with y'all.
So everybody have a great day.
I love you, Denise Jones. Thank you so much. And remember, if you want to learn more about this great organization, please go to CICOA.org, and you can be part of this great movement as we celebrate 50 years of all community all the time for the seniors in our community. Thank you, Denise.
Yes, thank you. Have a great
Talking to you later.
one.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Radio Next.